The M777 Howitzer is an extended-range general-purpose field artillery weapon that can fire at a range of up to 40 kilometers. It is highly mobile and easily transportable by rotary and fixed-wing aircraft or heavy-wheeled vehicles. The body has trails, spades, and stabilizers that can be folded for transportation and storage. It is equipped with a digital fire control system and loaded with precision-guided munitions that use location data from Global Positioning System, GPS, satellites, and an inertial navigation unit to steer precisely to the target. This gives the artillery the ability to destroy targets with increased accuracy, leading to less collateral damage. History and background. The origins of the M777 date back to the early 1980s. It began in 1987 as the ultralight field howitzer, developed by Vickers Armaments Division in UK. In 1999, after acquisition by BAE, Vickers Armaments Division was merged into the new BAE Systems RO Defense. Upon taking over responsibility for the weapon, BAE Americanized to a large degree the construction and assembly through its US-based BAE Systems Land and Armaments Group. The M777 now uses about 70% US-built parts, including the gun barrel, which is manufactured at the Watervliet Arsenal. General characteristics. The M777 has become the benchmark for 155mm lightweight towed artillery systems. Highly portable by land, sea, and air, the system features a minimal logistical footprint alongside maximum reliability. This means that it can be frequently moved and redeployed, maximizing survivability without encountering the risks faced by self-propelled systems. The M777 can strike over extended distances, regardless of terrain and obstacles. With a length of 35 feet but a weight of 9,300 pounds, the M777 is 41% lighter than the M198 it is replacing in US Army and Marine service. UKH of the weight reduction is due to the extensive use of titanium and aluminum alloy. The M777 can be transported by helicopter sling load, transport aircraft such as the Lockheed C-130 Hercules, or towed by air-braked vehicles weighing over 2.5 tons such as the FMTV and MTVR medium tactical vehicles. Design and appearance. The general appearance of the M777 is quite peculiar compared to most other towed howitzers, making quick recognition fairly easy. The rectangular muzzle brake is conspicuously hollow, with two enormous baffles. The towing eye is mounted on the base of the muzzle brake and has a spike-like shape. Unusually, the M777 has no trails. The M777 appearance changes noticeably between its traveling configuration and in its firing position. In its emplaced configuration, the M777 sits extremely low to the ground, with its stabilizers swung forward and its spades dropped to the ground behind it. So low that when the tube is in a level position, it is barely half a meter above the ground. Despite its low-slung proportions, the M777 still easily achieves high gun elevation, as the pivot point of the gun cradle is effectively behind both the saddle and carriage body. Seen from above, the spades and stabilizers of a fully emplaced M777 take on a crucifix shape, which is essential for stabilizing it due to its lack of conventional trails. The appearance of the M777 is even stranger in its traveling configuration. Unlike most modern towed howitzers, the M777's gun is not traversed 180 degrees for towing. Instead, the complete weapon is towed. In its traveling position is the two aft spades being folded upward and slightly forward, but not actually wrapping around the saddle. Most components of the M777 are made of titanium alloy, though some structural components are made of aluminum and the gun tube is made of steel. An interesting weight-saving measure is that many of the parts in the M777 serve multiple functions, rather than having a separate part for each. For example, the hydraulics in the suspension are also used as a hydraulic jack. A hydraulically operated loading tray is mounted behind the breech on the right side, but no rammer is included. Standard M777s have an optical sight mounted on the left side and provisions for an additional sight on the right side if required. Operating the M777. A crew of 8 is required to operate the M777 normally. It can also be operated by as few as 5 men in an emergency, but with a significantly reduced rate of fire. The M777 requires 3 minutes to emplace and 2 to 3 minutes to displace. The maximum rate of fire for the M777 is 4 rounds per minute for up to 2 minutes. The sustained rate of fire is 2 rounds per minute. Indirect fire for the latest M777 is usually aimed using the digital fire control system. It provides rapid and accurate ballistic computation, navigation, pointing, and self-location capabilities, which allows the latest M777 to perform effective fire missions rapidly, reducing the amount of time it must be emplaced in a given location. The original M777 lacked this fire control system, requiring the crew to use calculators and dials to compute their firing solutions. All M777s have a direct fire capability and use day and night optical sights to aim the weapon. Fire! Ammunitions. The primary projectile for the M777 had initially been the M107 HE round, but this munition is gradually being expended in service and replaced by the M795 HE round. This 46.7 kilo projectile holds a 10.8 kilo bursting charge. When fired from the M777 using an M119 or M203 propellant charge, the M795 has a range of up to 22.5 kilometers. The M107 is still used with the M777 as well, but stocks are slowly depleting. The M777 can also use the M982 Excalibur. It is one of the most heavily used projectiles for the M777. This is a GPS-guided HE round, which boasts fin stabilization and near pinpoint accuracy, giving it a range of up to 40 km when fired from a 155-meter weapon, and the ability to be safely delivered in much closer proximity to friendly troops than an unguided projectile usually allows for. The programmable guidance system allows the weapon crew to set the Excalibur to land on a specific geographic location, allowing frontline troops calling in fire missions to designate specific high-priority targets for destruction by single projectiles. It can also fire the M549A1 RAP HE. It is a rocket-boosted HE round, which can attain a range of 30 kilometers when fired from the M777. The M549A1 weighs 43.6 kilograms prior to fusing and carries a 6.8 kilo bursting charge. The M864 DPICM can also be fired from the M777. It is a sub-munition dispersing projectile, which on descent breaks open and scatters large numbers of anti-personnel and anti-material grenades over a wide area. The M777 also fires smoke, and a very wide range of mine-scattering projectiles as well. The M712 Copperhead laser-guided artillery projectile can also be fired from the M777. Any NATO standard 150mm shells can also be fired from the M777 as well, which hugely expands the variety of ammunition it uses. The M777's operators may thus sometimes use more unusual foreign ammunition during training exercises and combat operations. With all of its features and capabilities, the M777 Howitzer is one of the best and most successful 155mm artillery weapon in the world.